very nice to be back. My body's feeling it a little bit. We've had 4 weeks off, so yeah, just getting back to like the grind of county cricket again. But no, it's really good to see all the girls and seeing the winter that they've had as well. Hearing about Dubai, gutted I missed that one. But yeah, it's really nice to be back. Looking forward to getting going on Saturday.
Got a really exciting group of cricketers this year who've made a lot of progress over the winter, and I'm quietly confident that we'll have a really good season. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to some really big performances from the girls.
I think I saw a big difference this time last year from the first professional winter that they had, and they've just added to that and seem to have gone from strength to strength, and they put in some amazing performances in the County Cup that's just come away with a trophy, so it's a great start to the season. They all seem full of confidence, which is a brilliant place to be starting going into the Charlotte Edwards Cup. We've got a big trip down to Hove to sort out first, but no, they're a tough team. They had a real successful team last year. They beat us up here at Sale in the Rachel Hayhoe Flint, so I think first and foremost we want to get one back on them. It'll be a tough game, but we're looking forward to the challenge. Just excited to get going.
They are a tough side, and they're a very good side, and they've been together for a long time. So from that perspective, they're a pretty solid unit with bat, with ball, and in the field. So they perform really, really well. And we didn't really hit his straps with the bat. Had a decent power play, but after that we didn't bat the way we wanted to bat. And also, probably as a unit, didn't bowl the way we wanted to bowl, and his fielding was slightly off. So yeah, I mean, the key to defeats is bouncing back in it as soon as you possibly can, and we talk a lot about taking the learning and moving on, and as long as we take that learning and apply it on Wednesday, then as a coaching team we'll be really, really happy. Obviously we want to win the game, there's no doubt about that, but for us it's all about the process and the performance and applying the learning that we've taken from the game on Saturday.
Well, hello everybody and welcome to Emirates Old Trafford for continuing coverage of Lancashire versus Essex in the County Championship, brought to you by BBC Radio Lancashire, BBC Radio Manchester, BBC Essex via the BBC Sport website and of course on Lancs TV. Absolute pleasure to have you with us. We say continuing coverage, it's day 4. We were of course expecting the game to end on day 4, but it could all be over very, very quickly because the situation of the game is this. Lancashire begin the final day on 213 for 9 in their second innings, trailing by 75 runs. So this could be as quick as one ball, or we could see something absolutely extraordinary with Jimmy Anderson and Luke Wood batting out a day's play. I don't think that's going to happen. My name's Mike Perkins. I'm sitting in for Scott Reed today. Nick Gledhill is alongside me from BBC Essex. It's all looking very good for Essex. It's looking as if they're on course to take 22 points from this game.
Yeah, morning Mike, morning everyone. This is going to be almost the shortest day potentially after the longest day yesterday. I can't remember a longer championship day, something like 115 overs I think yesterday. And actually the fact that Essex got those late wickets could yet prove to be quite useful because it's pretty overcast here, and and there is just a possibility of some drizzle around. So although it's meant to be essentially dry, a little bit of precipitation is not out of the question. So the fact that Essex have gone into today needing 1 wicket rather than say 4, they'll be very pleased about, because I've just noted on the forecast, the forecast is slightly deteriorated, having looked to be a totally dry weekend. It's quite heavy cloud cover at the moment. It's quite a bright morning earlier on, but there's a possibility of just a little bit of rain. So the fact they only got 1 wicket to take, they'll be very pleased about that.
Yeah, it's been a strange morning actually, in the sense that it was sort of very cloudy very early on. Then, as you say, it lifted and was a lot lighter, and it seems to have sort of stayed at that kind of height. But there's a definite blanket above us as our umpires make their way out to the middle. From a Lancashire perspective, I suppose there's an element of pride of having taken it into the final day. Jimmy Anderson clearly didn't fancy giving up his wicket last night, and he, well, by some accounts, he can be relatively stubborn, and that's perhaps what's aided him as a fast bowler in his time, and he showed a little bit of stubbornness with the bat, and Luke Wood supported him as well.
They'll be very disappointed, though, about their overall performance in the game. Not so much with the ball, but certainly with the bat. I mean, it's obviously below the standards the very high standards that they've set this season, and obviously 103 all out. You're not going to win many games from that. You know, going forward for Lancashire, it's the second half of the championship season. It's going to be a challenge, because obviously they're going to have their bowling resources rather weakened, particularly with injury to Mahmood, and Jimmy obviously likely to be involved in the Test matches. And Hassan Ali as well, I think, is on his way. So, you know, it's going to obviously bring in other bowlers who've done a job before, and to see if Lancashire can stay near the top of the table. I've no problems with the Lancashire batting, I have to be honest. I think they just had a bad match against an Essex attack.
Well, that's what's been so strange about it, is that they haven't lacked runs at Old Trafford this season.
You know, this Essex attack have struggled, but this pitch has been tailor-made for them. And I had a sense that Simon Harmer would do well here. He's been averaging, his wickets have come at 60 a time up until this game. Obviously that's come right down with his 5 for 85 in this innings. But also Jamie Porter's done well on this ground before. Sam Cook's been in good form, and the combination of the two was very good, obviously, and that is what derailed Lancashire with that 32 for 5 on Friday afternoon, which is really what made the difference. Lancashire have never really been able to recover from that. The two not out batsmen, Anderson and Wood, just making their way to the middle. Just wanted to mention what we think is going to be the Division 1 table, with 1 or 2 variations at the end of all this. So Surrey 105, Hampshire 102 after that thumping win at Taunton. Then Yorkshire will either have 90 or 98, depending on whether they draw or more likely win the game against Warwickshire. Lancashire there on 87, and then it's going to be Essex 76, assuming that they were to win this, and then a bit lower down the table it depends on whether Kent can beat Northants today, although the most likely result there is a draw. But that's how the top of the table, top half of the table, is likely to be looking at the end of this round of games.
Well, our thanks to Nick Gledhill, who's just going to pop off and do an update for BBC Essex. You're also with BBC Radio Lancashire, BBC Radio Manchester via the BBC Sport website, and of course you can watch the pictures on Lancs TV. And we're going to have Sam Cook to open the bowling and run in and bowl here to Luke Wood, who's taken his guard, 3 slips in place waiting for the catch. There's a sort of macabre feeling to this one, as it is edged and through along the floor, and that one's going to go away for 4, and the Lancashire deficit goes down to 71, but they still have just that 1 wicket left in their second innings, so we're right on the brink of an Essex victory here. And as I say, it had a sort of macabre fascination to it, that delivery, that it could have just been a 1-ball day. It could even be a 2-ball day the way we're going here, but we will see shortly. Cook loosening into his work for the day, which could indeed be very short. Right arm around the wicket to the left-handed Wood. It's short of a length, pushed into the leg side, and there'll be no run on offer up to mid-on as the ball's return to the wicket-keeper Rossington. Plenty of encouragement from the Essex fielders, but a little bit of a feeling of going through the formalities this morning with the warm-ups, although they were slightly more vigorous than you perhaps would have expected, as in comes Cook again, right arm around the wicket, bowling to Luke Wood, who thought for a second about trying to stick a bat on that one, but sensibly just swayed away and evaded it. Imagine we might have one or two tail-enders, the podcast listeners, in here today, because Jimmy Anderson, of course, a star of that, and he's doing a very tail-ender thing, really, coming out to bat with just 1 wicket left for his team. So far in the over, just the 4 runs off the first ball off the edge of Luke Wood's bat, reducing the deficit to 71 as he leaves this one outside the off stump and through to the wicket-keeper Rossington. It goes once more, score remaining 217 for 9. No score off that delivery from Cook, and Wood just looks down at a pitch which has not been one of Lancashire's favoured ones this season. They've done very well in terms of runs at Old Trafford this season, but in this game bowled out for 103, losing 5 wickets on day 2 and 5 of them yesterday, and then another 9 in their second innings yesterday. As Cook bowls, and Wood is pulling this aggressively in a way out towards the boundary, and it'll go for 4 runs, so 8 from the first over of the day. Takes the score on to 221 for 9, and if the first boundary was off the edge of the bat, that one was emphatically off the middle, and Luke Wood will be feeling rather better about his work with just 1 delivery of this first over to come. 67 more needed to make Essex bat again. I think it would be, even that would be a achievement for these two, Wood and Anderson. Wood, who resumed on 17, Anderson, who resumed on 0, and Wood inside edges this one, but he might get a very similar result to the full-blooded pull stroke, but the grass just taking the pace off it as it goes, and 2 is the runs to the total, but it means Jimmy Anderson will have the strike for the next over. So 10 off the first over of the day, takes the score on to 223 for 9 and reduces that deficit down to 65. But Essex have been in full control of this game throughout, since making 391 all out, largely thanks to Dan Lawrence's 120 in the first innings, Snater as well with 72 down the order, and then it was all about the bowlers from there. They made inroads early, reduced Lancashire to 24 for 5 in just the 14th over of their innings, as Harmer will pick up where he left off last night and continue the bowling. He picked up 1 in the first innings, but Cook with 4, Porter with 2, Snater with 2, and Critchley with a wicket as well. They were able to dominate this game, and they continued in that fashion in the second innings as well. So Harmer preparing to come into the attack. There are 4 round the back, and Nick Gledhill is back with us.
Yep, he's going to bowl to Jimmy Anderson. So we may well see this in late August in Matesta Arena, as this is played defensively back down the pitch by Anderson, who played very properly yesterday, in contrast perhaps to a couple of the others who slightly gave their wickets away. Jimmy Anderson wasn't in the mood to do that. He's going to try and last as long as he can out there. 4 men round the bat. Who knows, he could be having to save a test match against Simon Harmer, or win one later in the summer. This is played defensively just for the dead bat by Anderson up towards Walter, who's at City Point. There's a slip and a leg slip and a short leg, and 5 saving 1. And it was a good first over that from Wood's point of view. 223 for 9. Harmer bowls, and Anderson just covers up and plays defensively. We've got to remember that score of 288. It's notional at the moment, but if these two were to add 30, it starts to become relevant. That was a deficit in the first innings, and that's what Lancashire need to get to make Essex bat again. 4 around the bat. Harmer just floats that up, and Anderson plays a nice stroke actually and gets it past Westley, and it'll go for 4. It's not going to be stopped, as Westley does try and make up the lost ground after he'd misfielded there slightly, but wasn't able to do so. And Lancashire made a positive start in a hopeless position this morning.
Well, on an ordinary day, Essex, I think, would be a little bit frustrated with the boundaries they've given away. Obviously, the first one was off the edge of the bat, but a short one to Wood, and that one was floated up. But it's because all they're looking for, really, is a wicket. And
what it shows is that Jimmy's got the on-drive working quite well against the spinners. 227 for 9. Anderson facing up to Harmer and just propping forward and playing head right over the ball. Defensively, just square into the offside. Aaron Beard, who's been on the field for Dan Lawrence, who's had a scan for his hamstring injury, and let's just hope that that's not going to prove too serious and keep him out for too long, as Harmer again just floats that one up and Anderson props forward, plays defensively back down the pitch. 227 for 9. So Lancashire, it's a target of sorts. I mean, it's still a long way away, but 288 would at least get Essex to bat again. But Essex, it should just be a matter of time. And I suppose from a bowler's point of view, it's in the back of your mind, you know, the game is won, and it's just a question of getting the right ball, particularly with Anderson's on strike. That might just be too good for him. But I have to say, Wood has batted well in both innings. 23 to him, Anderson 4, 227 for 9.
Yes, I think even knocking off the remaining runs to get to to make Essex bat again would be an achievement for these two. It would be a lot of work for them to do, as that one nips past the outside edge of Wood. Best ball of the morning so far, I think, there from Sam Cook. Just found the length and found a little bit of wobble perhaps to take it past the bat. But it's something to aim for. It's something to look at. Trailing by 61 at the moment, as the cordon of Cook, Harmer and Critchley waits, with Rossington with the gloves there too. They seem the most likely to end this game early on the 4th morning, as that one goes through outside the off stump and left alone by Luke Wood. Just a cursory stride forward as he did so, as 1 or 2 make their way to the Metro, away to our right hand side through the open area where there's a stand being rebuilt, and not many in the ground, it has to be said. Just a couple sat on the benches at the far end. This one is bowled and just diverted away down to long leg, but they decline the single on this occasion. Porter with the fielding.
Yep, so how long can Lancashire resist here? That's the issue. Morning to Ken, if you're listening. Thanks for your email that you sent earlier on this morning. Glad you've enjoyed the coverage of the game. Good result for Essex, looks like.
Yep, 22 points if they can complete this victory, as Wood leaves again outside the off stump. That was very similar, I felt, to the one that beat him actually, but on this occasion he was happy to leave it on length and let it go over the top of his stumps. Porter motioning through a few bowling actions down to our right.
Yeah, I think the combination of Cook and Harmer was very effective yesterday evening. It might be a little while before he bowls.
227 for 9 as Cook bowls to Wood, and that one does make him play. And the result is the same as it's been throughout the over. No run, but he was left groping at that one. 5 balls of the over gone. He'll ideally perhaps want a single, unless they've decided Anderson takes the spin. And
well, they feel that Anderson is able to deal with Harmer. That you know, left-hander, but he's played him better than all the other tail-enders, I think, so far.
The issue with that plan we'll come to after this ball from Cook, as it does go off the outside half of the bat, and this one should trickle away for 4 runs as well. It will be 4 runs, so another profitable over for Lancashire. Takes the deficit down to 57, takes the score on to 231 for 9. So 4 runs off the over, and this is the problem here that we're seeing, because Porter was warming up very vigorously. So if Anderson was planning to just deal with the spinner, he's going to have to face some quicker stuff now.
Yeah, it's interesting
Porter,
because there's no reason for Harmer not to carry on bowling. He bowled very well, 5 for 89, but I think Wesley was sufficiently impressed with the way that Anderson coped with Harmer to make that decision. So it's interesting. It's just a change of mind, isn't it? Because having started with Harmer, logically would have carried on with Harmer for a little while, but has decided that Anderson was sufficiently impressive that he wants to revert to Cook's fellow opening bowler. So it's going to be Jamie Porter, who's had a very good game on a ground that he's had success at before. 3 slips and a short leg and 4 saving one on a cloudy morning. He goes round the wicket and bowls to Anderson, who probably gets off the strike with a little push stroke into the offside and a good well-judged run, and gives Anderson a run. He goes to 5 and Wood has 27. It's 232 for 9, and as I say, as they inch closer, 288, a relevant figure in terms of the fact that it would make Essex bat again, but odds still firmly that they won't get there. But these two have batted very sensibly, and Lancashire will just slightly rue the fact, I think they sort of rather gave things away a little bit in the last hour against good Essex bowling, but Essex exploited the fact that they bowled their overs inside the time required. There were 10 extra minutes of play in which they got a wicket, and that led on to the extra half hour, so that was very well done indeed, as Porter just floats that one up, and it's driven nicely by Wood up towards mid-off, and there's no run. So we know that Hampshire had that huge win yesterday, and that was one that's taken them to within 3 points of Surrey at the top of the table, with both sides having played 6 games. And in fact, the table's going to make interesting reading, actually. I think more or less everyone will have played the same number of games at the end of this round, with Surrey and Gloucestershire not in action, so it'll have some meaning. There's always an excellent delivery and a catch behind. Is it? Oh, is he walking? I think that's it. Yeah, it is out. It is out, and that is the end of the game. It was Wood caught behind by Rossington, and there was just a moment of hesitation, but no, it is out, and that is the end of the game. 232 all out, and well, the change of mind with Porter bowling in the end pays dividends, because he's got the wicket, and I say he's completed a pretty good game here. 232 all out. Porter finishing with 2 for 27, and Cook 2 for 44. But I suppose the outstanding performer in the second innings very much was Simon Harmer, with his 5 wickets to really get his season up and running. And in the end, it's a good back of a length delivery from Porter, which drew the edge, and straightforward catch for Rossington. Wood batting well in both innings for 27, but no doubt about it, Essex thoroughly deserving this victory. They've won in the end by a margin of an innings and 56, I think, and that is a very, very convincing success at a ground where they got a great victory 4 years ago and have done the same here.
Well, 13 minutes was the unlucky number for Lancashire. That's how long they lasted on the 4th day. Wood and Anderson just strolling off the pitch. A little feather of an edge in the end brought proceedings to an end. And as Nick Gledhill said, the margin of victory, an innings and 56 runs in the end. Lancashire taking just the 2 points, Essex taking 22 points from this game. The players about to shake hands, and that is where we will leave you on the BBC Sport website. Brought to you this commentary by BBC Radio Lancashire, BBC Radio Manchester and BBC Essex, and that is where we will leave you on Lancs TV too. From myself, Mike Perkins, and from Nick Gledhill, do join us again. The 2020 season is on its way next, so Lancashire starting against Yorkshire and
Essex at Canterbury, which tends not to be a happy hunting ground in T20, but it'll be an interesting one to start. She'll be a very good pitch, and I'll be there with Dick Davis on Friday evening, so I hope you can join us for that.
And we look forward to seeing you all for those games.